All right. Well, welcome to another episode in the Run Breiter Podcast. This is episode number 17, and I'm really excited to say we have another awesome guest joining us today. This is Joslyn who's joining us. Joslyn, actually, we connected via TikTok. I'm starting to get to know more and more runners through the TikTok community, which is great. And she has some amazing content on there. Definitely a lot of really inspirational, even humorous stuff and educational running-based content. But Joslyn, I'd love for you to go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll get things kicked off here. Thank you so much for joining.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, Sam. I'm excited. I love talking about running. I feel like I can talk about it all day, every day, but nobody in my real life really appreciates talking about running so much. So I'm glad to be here. It'll be nice to get it all out. So my name is Joslyn. I am 43 years old. I'm almost 44. I'll be 44 in September. So, I'm getting up there in age, but I have 3 kids. I live in Connecticut, and for my job, my family and I own a campground. So it is a seasonal business. And, during the height of the season, the summertime, it's intense. It's intense. But now that the kids are going back to school and Labor Day is coming up, everything's going to kind of start to quiet down a little bit. So it'll be a much welcomed break from the summertime. But the summer though has been so hot. You're in New York, right?
I'm in New York, so yeah, I'm dealing with that. The heat waves that we've had. I went on a run today. It was pretty brutal. I'm sure you did as well.
Yeah, I went outside this morning and I was like, why is it still so hot and humid? And I'm ready for fall. That's not necessarily winter, but just some nice fall, crisp air. That would be nice. So,
yeah, no, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
How do you like living in Connecticut, and how long have you been living there?
I've lived in Connecticut my whole life. So I love where I live. I'm not originally from the area that I'm in now. I'm in the northeast corner of Connecticut. I'm actually from Fairfield County, Connecticut. So not too far from New York. But yeah, I moved up here when we bought our campground. And it's just beautiful here. It's really fantastic for running. And there's a lot of runners in my town, actually. So it's a very small town, but there's a lot of us. It's really hilly out here, so I get plenty of hill work in, but it's nice. But the funny thing is I live now right on the Rhode Island border. So most days I'm running in 2 states. I go from Connecticut to Rhode Island, which I always think is kind of funny because I'm I'm in another state right now.
No, that's really cool. I'm sure the days that you hit your double-digit mileage, or I've seen you run close to sometimes 100 miles in a week. I've seen.
Yeah, I've kind of cut back a little bit. When I first for my first marathon, I didn't really know what I was doing. Actually, my very first marathon I ran was Philly, and I had signed up for that a few weeks after I ran my very first half marathon.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really train really so much for Philly. But throughout over the years, I found this guy that lived near me who was he was an elite marathoner, oddly enough. So I kind of tracked him down and I made friends with him and his wife. And it's kind of a funny story, but it was him that was if you really want, because I ran Philly and I qualified for Boston, but I missed getting into Boston by 38 seconds.
Oh
and God. Yeah, it was rough. But anyway, this guy was if you really want to qualify for Boston, you're going to have to increase your miles. There's a lot to be said for high mileage. And I was I don't know, that's crazy. So I took his advice and I was you know what, I'm just going to try it. I'll go out and I'll try it for a little bit. It's either going to kill me or it's going to make me stronger. And it made me stronger. So, and back then I was running over 100 miles a week, almost every week. But now that I'm getting a little bit older, I've kind of cut back a little bit, so now I think I am probably between 90 and 100-ish.
That's still amazing. And it's kind of funny. So I didn't realize that your first marathon was Philly. That was actually my first marathon. I did it back in last November, so almost a year ago. I just recently did a race where I tried to break 3 hours and qualify for Boston. but I've been running, I mean, the most I've done in a week is like 60, 70 miles. And I mean, I was able to run a 3:13, but maybe I got to bump my mileage up a little bit. And you can probably give some advice there. I notoriously have done like 5Ks or like half marathons, but now I'm getting into the marathon. So I'm starting to see that those longer run days and longer run weeks I seem to be really key to really bump that PR down.
I mean, but I kind of feel like too, there's so much like mixed info on that. Like some people, like my buddy, swear by it, and then there's other people that are like, nope, you don't have to run that much to have a big PR. So I don't know. I mean, I definitely now I also strength train more than I ever have before. So if you don't do that, you should add that in too, because I think that's, well, and especially for me, because I am getting older, like I think it's really important. But then I think, well, if I only started that 10 years ago, like probably only would have helped. But
yeah, I couldn't agree more. The strength training piece is super important. I think more than anything, it's just like injury prevention that I've noticed from strength training. I'm sure you could agree. And, to be able to run, I'm sure you want to run 10, 20, 30, as long as you can, more years. And I think I'll allow you to definitely do that. But I know we were talking about this a little bit before the show, but I think it's really good context to also know what led you to want to first start with running, because it's really awesome that you're now, you've done, I'm sure, a handful of marathons. I know we talked about Philly for a little bit. But what really led you to make the choice to start running in the first place?
Well, it all started I had my first baby. I put on a couple of pounds, whatever. And then like I started doing Zumba in my town hall. They had like a Zumba class. So I was a little active with that,
Nice.
And then one of my brother's friends was like, hey, the Warrior Dash is coming to a couple of towns away. Why don't we all run the Warrior Dash together? Right? Like I was like, all right, that's cool. Sounds like fun. So that's kind of how I started with running. I remember I went out for my very first like training run because I was like, I'm actually going to like work for this and see, because I mean, it was like a 5K with obstacles. I have zero upper body strength. I'm not a runner. Like I'm actually going to train a little bit and see what happens. So I went out for my very first run. I mean, I think it was probably not even 2 miles. And I came back and I said to my husband, we're all going to die. Like there's no way any of us are going to survive this Warrior Dash. Like not a chance. So we went and we had a blast and we all survived. It was great. And after that, I was kind of like, well, I've come this far. I'm not going to just stop, but back then I kind of only ran on the good days, like the good weather days. I was a fair weather runner. If it was like foggy out, I'd be like, nope, I can't run. If it was raining a little bit, today's a good day to clean the house kind of thing, So I kind of very, very slowly progressed to where I am today. So I joined an online, I joined an online running group, and they're the ones that kind of encouraged me to run my first marathon. Like after a couple of years, I had my third baby in 2015. So, and it wasn't until after I had him that I ran my first 13 miles, like a few months after I had him, so he was a rough baby. He was high risk. So it was kind of an interesting time in my life, and running actually helped me through that. But after I had him in January, and then I signed up for a half marathon that was in September. And I distinctly remember running this half marathon and thinking to myself, people do this for another 13 miles. Like, that is insane. Like, who wants to do that? That's crazy.
I think we all have that feeling when we do our first half.
Yeah, like I had no idea. And I mean, I ran it pretty well. I ran like a 136, 137, something like that, but I was clueless. Like I didn't really like train. I ran and I, might have done like speedier runs, but I had no idea. Like I was just kind of doing this and whatever. So after that, the people in my running group were like, well, actually after that, I pushed my son in the stroller for 15 miles. And then that's that's when the people in my running group were like, you just pushed a stroller for 15 miles. You can run a marathon. And I mean, that was literally like just a few weeks after the half marathon. So one guy was like, all you got to do is just add in a couple of longer runs and then you'll be fine for Philly. And I was like, oh my God, can I actually run a marathon? Like, that's crazy. So I did. So that's how it all started. And it was all right, you know, for not really knowing what I was doing. It was pretty good. So,
that's really cool.
yeah.
And since Philly, I mean, I guess something I'd be really curious about. What other marathons have you done? I don't know how many you've done actually.
I have done, I believe, 12.
Wow.
So I ran Boston 5 times. Well, 4 plus the virtual. So I kind of look at Boston as like for Boston, I can stay home and drive to Boston, like Hopkinton. It's like, I don't know, maybe an hour from me. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I will probably run Boston every time I qualify.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I ran New York City twice. I ran the Providence Marathon with one of my running buddies. It was her very first marathon, which Providence is a good one. You're not too far from Providence. That's a good one too. And then I ran another one in Rhode Island that was absolutely awful. I don't even think they do it anymore. It was terrible. Like, it was just, the course was terrible. There weren't that many, like, crowd support goes a long way with me. And there was like 0 at this race, you know.
That's brutal.
It was a rough one. I ran the Hartford Marathon, which is another good one if you're ever looking for a race in Connecticut. I ran the Marine Corps Marathon too.
Nice. Which good things about that one.
Yeah, the Marine Corps Marathon was fantastic. Like, I would do that one again in a heartbeat again. And it was funny because before I registered for that one, like, I had heard so many people like, nah, it's kind of the corral, and people like that don't belong in these certain corrals are there and they really shouldn't be. And it kind of like, I heard mixed reviews about it, you know. I'm like, whatever, I'm going to do it. And it was great. It was great. Awesome. I would definitely do it again. So
very cool. Very cool. And I mean, something I'd be curious about, because, you know, I've never done the same marathon more than once. Obviously with Boston, you've done that one, I think, well, you said 4 times with 5, including the virtual.
Right.
You've done New York one twice. Is it more just like the convenience factor of it? I mean, obviously those are 2 of the world's major marathons. They're incredibly famous races. Is it just because that experience never got old for you, or what made you more than once?
Yeah. Like I mean, they're just incredible races. Like, I would do New York every year too, if I could. New York's a little bit further from me, so it's a little bit more, you know, difficult travel wise. But oh my God, there's nothing like the New York City Marathon. Like, I mean, I go back and forth between Boston and New York. Boston, they're both such great races. Like, they really are. My first Boston though was in 2018 with that weather. Like,
oh yeah. It was like raining like crazy, right?
Oh, it was not just rain. It was like sleet, snow, freezing rain, wind. It was unreal. And I just remember like sitting in the athletes village thinking, how am I going to get back to my husband? Like, if I wasn't going to run, like, how would I get back there? You know? And like the fact that I was kind of like, I didn't have my cell phone with me. I had nothing. I was kind of like, oh, I'm going to actually have to run this. Like, it was, I hear so many people that are like, I still loved it and had such a great time. It's fantastic. Not me. I walked away from Boston that day and I was like, I am never doing this again. Like, it was that bad. Like, there was not one part, like, I was frozen solid. Like, it was just miserable from the beginning. Like, before I got on the bus, that was the one time I stayed in Boston because another one of my friends was going, and I was like, all right, we'll just, you know, stay in the same hotel and all, like, because he had run it many, many times too. But, and then after that, after I kind of like forgot about it a little bit, I was like, you know what? I can't let that be my only experience running Boston. Like, I can't do that. So I went back and I'm glad I did, because it's really like such a phenomenal race, and like the history behind it and everything. Like, I'll run Boston for as long as I can. I would love it if one day one of my kids ran it and I could like run it with them. I mean, I'll be old, but you know, whatever, because that would be pretty cool. But
yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I'm hoping that I can, you know, do Boston hopefully in 2024. I am doing New York in November, so
oh yeah, oh, that's awesome. I'm excited for you because it is really an incredible race. Like there's nothing like the New York City Marathon. I mean, again, I go back and forth between Boston. They're both amazing, and they're like different, they're different in many, many ways, but they're both incredible. That's why I'm running Chicago, and
Oh, I
I'm
saw
like,
that.
yeah, I am like so excited, and I'm getting more and more excited about it. I'm a terrible traveler though. Like, I'm very nervous about, I honestly haven't even decided how we're getting there. I'm like, are we going to fly, or like, I'm like 6 weeks away? I got to figure this out, right? I'm terrible at traveling, so I'm nervous about that, but I am so excited to see the course compared to New York and Boston. And I keep hearing it's flat and fast, and but the thing is, well, New York is pretty hilly. It's surprisingly hilly. I remember the second time I ran it, I was like, I didn't remember it being so hilly, but it's definitely hilly. But all I run around me is hills, and like I keep thinking it's flat and fast. I'm like, I don't really know how to run on flat. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I'm afraid, because I feel like that's going to be more work, or maybe just different muscles or different, I don't know, because the hills, you get to go up them and come down them, and there's a little bit of flat here and there, but I don't know.
Do you have any tracks by you? It might be worthwhile, like doing some like track workouts and getting used
to that's exactly what I've been doing. That I have a track in my town, but it's like kind of a crappy little gravel track, like it's got like little ups and downs and whatever. But like that's what I've been doing though, because I'm like, just for my own peace of mind, like I just want to kind of be ready for the flat, and just kind of, not that it's going to be monotonous, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot for me to look at, and a lot of crowd support and everything. So I don't think, but I mean, when I do my speed workouts around the track, because I've been doing my tempo runs and all sorts of stuff, I'm like 20 minutes in, and I'm like, I can't keep going. Like, it's like, but I'm like, I get it done, but so we'll see how the flat and fast goes, but
I'm sure you'll do great, and that's super exciting. Chicago, I mean, that's obviously another one that is super famous, and a nice handful of people who've done it, and I've only heard good things. So sure, if you love Boston and New York, this will just be another good one to add.
I hope so. I think so, and I think Chicago is going to be special too, because there are going to be a lot of people from TikTok there. So I know they're having like a get together at somebody that lives in Chicago at his house. So hopefully, if my travel plans work out right, I'll be able to go. But I'm like, I think that'll be so cool to go and meet everybody and just kind of hang out. So hopefully my travel plans will allow that. But I guess
that'll be great.
Yeah.
I'm also curious, I mean, at this point, or like in general too, with running, what makes you motivated to go out there and run? Because I think everyone has different benefits or different passions that they really get to exhibit when they go out there and run. So like what's your why with running? I'm really curious.
Honestly, right now, and I just did like a TikTok about this. I've been running every single day since December 26, 2016.
Wow.
So
I saw that date on your Instagram, and I was like, this isn't the date she's been running every day since. This is probably something else, but wow, you proved me wrong.
So now it's like, I mean, I just look at running. I mean, it's kind of just part of my routine now, you know what I mean? But it's kind of like on those days where the motivation is really, really low, because that happens. And I feel like that happens a lot to me. Like, I'll wake up in the morning and I'm gonna be like, all right, I gotta get up. It's dark out. It's okay. I'm just gonna, but like once I get out and run, like get running and everything, I always feel better, but I mean, it's just part of, I guess, like who I am now, which is really kind of weird to say too, but it's just, I mean, I just love it. I don't always like it, but I love it. And I think one of the things that kind of kept me going too was I just liked it. It changed my mindset after a while. Like I could see changes in my body. Like it just, I mean, I'm a different person today than I was 10 years ago. It's just, And I always feel like I wish everybody would just give running a fair chance. Like I really wish they would just be like, you know what, I'm going to give it my all for a few months and see what happens. But it's hard though. Running is definitely hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think the hardest part is the beginning because you get sore, you're injured. I think mentally you're not like loving it, but obviously it sounds like for you, and I mean for me as well. I mean, I've been running since I'm 25, but I've been running competitively since I've been 12 years old.
Right.
I just like I feel like life is not the same when I'm not consistently running. I feel so much more clarity with my mind. I feel a lot more fulfillment and I just get a lot more done. And I feel like I'm just a better person. It sounds like you're the same with that.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely taken rest days though. I mean, that's crazy. Have you like what's like the shortest run you've done since you said it was December of 2016?
Yeah. Well, so right like the day after I run a marathon, I'll go out and just run 20 minutes.
Okay.
Just 20 minutes. Like it doesn't matter. Like sometimes it's more of like a hobble jog, but I just go out for 20 minutes. That is it. So whatever it might be, it's usually maybe like a couple of miles. I don't know. I think one time I ran the day after a marathon, I ran like 5 miles pushing my son in the stroller, but that was the furthest. That was before I don't know. I knew better.
Understandable.
Yeah, that's it. 20 minutes after a marathon, that's usually the shortest.
Wow. And like, have there been days where you're just because obviously, I mean, I think what's even crazier about it, I mean, and crazy in a good way, I just want to note, but you obviously have a family, you work, and then you're running every day. I mean, how have you been able to do that and manage the time with your life and your family, your business, all that stuff?
I get up really early in the morning. Like I usually am up, like I said, when it's still dark out while everybody's still sleeping, and I'll get my running in, and then I go to work after that. And then but I mean, I am very lucky. I have a very unique lifestyle because we close in October. So on October 9th, I still work, but I'm working from home and I'm working like far less hours, and I kind of can do what I want, like when I want to do it. So it's a very unique lifestyle. So I'm very fortunate to be able to do that, I know not everybody can, and I'm just lucky like that.
Yeah.
So just one thing.
I think there's a lot of people out there who probably have like a similar lifestyle to you in that sense, but they don't take advantage of the time that they at this same time too. So
that's for sure.
Well, for people like that.
But see, and I like when I'm up and out early, and I've mentioned this on TikTok before too, where I'll be like running by people's houses and I'll be like, oh, they're still sleeping, I'm out here running and it's my thing, and everybody's still sleeping, like that's always I just think that's funny. I don't know. The people that are sleeping are probably like, I like my sleep, so whatever, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I'm working on it. I have like a goal for myself to become more of a morning runner, but I'm inconsistent with it. I mean, I definitely run in the evening a fair bit, but I mean, is it just because like for you, it's like it's habit, you go to bed at the same time every night and you wake up at the same time, or how have you been able to consistently run in the mornings?
Well, I definitely get up at the same time every day. Going to bed is not so easy to do at the same time every night. I mean, during the summer, there's some nights where I don't get home from work until 10:30, 11 o'clock,
Yeah.
My alarm goes off at 4:45. So it's like, but I do what I got to do, because if I didn't run in the morning, then I would really have, when would I do it? Like I have to do it in the morning. Otherwise I'd be doing it in the middle of the night. And that does not sound much like, so.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm also really curious. I mean, obviously, the way we've met each other is through TikTok, which is really cool. And for you, what made you want to start creating content about your running and posting? And obviously you've done fairly well with it. I mean, you've gained a very nice following. So I guess we'll start with the initial motivation to try to encourage others with running.
Well, my daughter is actually the one that introduced me to TikTok a couple years ago. So that's how it all started. I didn't start doing running stuff. I honestly don't even remember why I decided, because I had my YouTube channel, and YouTube was just kind of hard for me to keep up with because it was longer videos and it was more editing and more, you know, but when TikTok came out, that platform was just 1 minute. That's it. The videos were 1 minute to start, so it was really quick and easy to just do it and get it done. And that would be it. So I think that's kind of how it started. And I mean, I've been on Instagram too. Instagram is kind of funny to me. Like I don't know. Like I feel like I don't fit in on Instagram, and TikTok is more like my people. I don't know.
Well, I think like with Instagram, what's hard is like it seems like people who are more like famous, like celebrities, do really well
Yeah.
on that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more of just like based on like people well, whereas TikTok now at least is more just like based on interest. So
Yeah.
when you're spreading information about running, obviously there's a large community of runners on all platforms, but TikTok, they're probably more engaged with that is what I've kind of experienced.
Yeah. I definitely think that like the interaction on TikTok is like, I don't know why, but I just feel like there's way more interaction on TikTok than Instagram. But
Yeah. I think there's also just like more people on it now too. I think
yeah.
it's like low key has became the most popular used social media. People just stay on it longer.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't even watch TV anymore. Like I watch TikTok. Like if I'm like laying in bed, I don't even watch TV. It's
Yeah.
like I'll be on TikTok for a little bit. Like that's my time to unwind, and then that's it. I hardly watch TV.
I'm kind of the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be really curious too. Like, do you have any like future plans with your own like personal brand? Because obviously it seems like now, like in today's world, you can build like your own business in a sense with your own personal brand if you have a large following, but you obviously have. I don't know if there's certain areas right now that you're monetizing from it, but is it just more for yourself and something you enjoy, or are you like looking at it from like an entrepreneurial standpoint as well?
Um, no, I mean, I do it because I truly enjoy doing it. Like I enjoy posting about it, and like I love it when people tell me that I've inspired them or they look up to me or whatever. Like I love that. Like it just makes me so happy, and it's like good. I'm glad because I'm just like an old lady in Connecticut that like, and if I could do it, I feel like anybody can. And I just always think about like a lot of my followers are younger, and I just keep thinking like, who knows who these kids can be? Like when I was young and I ran in high school, but like no idea. Like I didn't even know what potential was back then. You know what I mean? And I just feel like if these people, kids, young, old, whoever, if they look at me and they're like, hey, if she can run 20 miles today, there's no reason why I can't run two. You know what I mean? Like because that's how I started. Like I didn't start running 20 miles at a time. I started running 2 miles here, 2 miles there, and I just very, very slowly worked my way up to where I am. So I just feel like if somebody looks at me and they're inspired to just go and even try running like that, I like that. That's part of what inspires me. So
yeah, no, it's a great feeling for sure. And like I'm starting to get like a lot of the more content I've been making, I feel like a lot of my close friends are like getting into running, and it's just a great feeling to give someone some knowledge and education about something you're passionate about that improves your life, that you find a lot of fulfillment with it, and then other people are doing it as well, and they're starting to see like
for sure. So I mean, I don't know, like we'll see what happens in the future. Like I have done a few promotional things for this past Boston. I did like a big promotion with Amazon for the 50th anniversary of women being able to run Boston. So that was pretty cool. That was a good one. So we'll see what the future holds. I still have my day jobs. So, like
one day at a time, right?
That's it. We'll see what happens, but
yeah. And then what about like like any future plans with running? I mean, I guess I'm curious too. I mean, obviously we talked about marathons. Have you done any races longer than a marathon? Have you done like any ultras or anything like that?
Not official. No.
Okay.
Like the longest that I've run that I've ever gone on was like 30 miles. Yeah, it was like 30 miles. So I think I could do an ultra, but I don't know why I'm like afraid, because I feel like I don't know what the training is going to be like. And then I don't know. It's such a long time for me to ask my family to like sit by and do, I don't even know, what do the families of the ultra runners do? Like, do they
provide all the supplements and make sure that you're like not dying at sea.
You know, like I don't know. So I mean, and plus it's ultras are far.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do think about it, and I like feel like I could probably do one, but I haven't done that yet.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure with the amount you run in a week, like you could probably do like a 50 miler right now.
Yeah.
You might need to take a day off after
it. I might not have a choice.
But yeah, I mean, I've seen people do who the longest run that they had done prior was a marathon. So it's I think it's possible. But what kind of scares me, and I don't know if scare is the right word, but I guess maybe it makes me nervous, is just like running like late at night when it's super dark. You don't really know. That's
the thing too. And like, do I have to carry a map with me? Because you know, like, how does this even work? I don't know. And I've heard of people like hallucinating, and I don't know. It just seems like a whole different ball game, and I don't know. We'll see. I think it would be cool, but we'll see.
Another one where it's one day at a time on that.
yeah, I would like to do one. I would, but I've been saying that for years, so we'll see.
Well, you got to keep me posted if you do, and I'd love to see the
yeah.
I'm sure you would crush it, just like everything else you've done with running.
We'll see. But one thing that I would love to do is to be a 6-star finisher. Okay. That would be amazing. Like that is definitely on my list. I have until I die, so it's not like something I got to get done all like in the next couple of years. So we'll see. But that's why Chicago is going to be my third one. So then I just have to get all the international ones. But that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a big goal of mine too. I mean, I feel like running in like Tokyo, like that would be insane.
Right. Like it would be incredible. Yeah. So. We'll see. But like, I think right now though, my long-term goal with running is just to be able to run for as long as I can. You know, like I mean, right now, most of my runs are at least like 10 miles. Like I think even when I'm not in the middle of marathon training, like if I'm going to go out for a run, it's going to be at least like 6 or 8 miles, you know? So even if as I get older, like I have to cut back on my weekly long runs and whatever, like that's fine. I just want to be able to run for as long as I can. Like I want to outlive all my competitors.
Makes sense. No, I hear you. I'm really curious. I mean, do you do anything? Because like my concern with running every day would be just like the overtraining portion of it. I mean, I guess if you do it for as long as you've done it, you know, you just probably are so used to it. But what is like your recovery look like? I mean, do you do anything? Do you like take any like supplements? Do you like keep a little extra? Do you like do any like stretching that's special? Anything like that?
Not really. I see my massage therapist every 2 weeks religiously. Like she's one of my favorite people in the whole entire world. I mean, I always say, well, actually I did foam roll this morning for a little bit. But I always say like, oh, I have to foam roll. And I never really do. But I mean, I eat well. I don't like skimp on food at all. Like that's one of my big things is I don't restrict anything. If I'm hungry, I eat. And that's basically the way I roll with food. I try to sleep as well as I can. You know, I've kind of, now that my kids are a little bit older and I don't have to worry about waking up and being up all night, like sleep has definitely become more of a priority. So if I get the chance to be in bed by 9:30 at night, I'm gonna go to bed. You know, like I'm gonna catch those Z's. So, but I mean, as far as I don't really do anything too special. I do keep my easy runs as easy as I possibly can, you know, and then, but I think that's basically it. Like I don't really do anything too special.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, obviously I think the massage specialist, that's I think important. And then the nutrition factor, I mean, that's huge. Do you do anything like, do you follow like any special diets, or is it kind of just like a standard nutrition diet that you follow?
I eat whatever when I'm hungry. Like if in our store, I mean, we have ice cream, we have slush puppies, we have all that. Like, I mean, I do try to pick healthier options, you know, but if I'm like, ooh, this ice cream sandwich looks really good right now, I'll have an ice cream sandwich. It's not like something I do every day, you know, but I mean, I don't like restrict, and that's probably why I don't have a six pack, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, for you, it seems like you're just doing it because you enjoy it, and I mean,
Yeah.
that's really cool. I mean, and that is the nice part about running too. You don't have to like be like I mean, obviously, you don't want to like eat ice cream sandwiches 3 times a day every single day.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you know, you can definitely treat yourself because you're
Mhm.
getting after it and still stay very healthy from that.
Yeah, yeah. But like that's the thing. People say to me all the time, like, oh, you run so much, you could probably eat whatever you want. Which I mean, I guess I kind of do, but that's not necessarily the way that it goes. You know what I mean? Like you always hear like you can't out train a bad diet. And I you know, that is true. That is true. But I have to say too, though, like since I have been strength training more, I don't have a six pack yet, but my muscles, I'm definitely have I think I do anyway. I think I'm gaining more muscle. So maybe someday I'll have a six pack. I just gotta like nutrition is hard though. Like I'm not like I don't eat salad every day. I think about it like, ooh, salad just sounds good, but it's I don't know.
Yeah,
I like
it's
French
hard.
fries. Yeah.
For sure. I would also be curious too. I mean, obviously something that I really love that you were talking about was the fact that a lot of what you're doing is to obviously like motivate people, whether it's young people, older people, just to run because of all the benefits it gives you. What like tips would you have for someone who might be listening right now, has never ran before, as far as like just general tips or like how to start, anything like that?
I think that one of the biggest things is you have to actually commit to it and like say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to run 4 days a week and then actually run 4 days a week, whether it's 4 days, 3 days, whatever it is, but like commit to it and be like, this is what I'm going to do and actually do it. And I think staying consistent with it is also another like that's huge. Consistency really is it's huge. And it's not always going to be easy. It's going to hurt. There's going to be times where you're like, why am I even doing this? But you just got to get through it and keep going. Like you have to keep going. Consistency is huge. And I would also say, don't really worry about your pace when you're just starting out. Like, don't worry about that. Like, you don't have to be speedy, you know, you just go and kind of get into the habit, into the routine of running. And then the speed will come. Your pace will definitely pick up. Like, no doubt, it will definitely pick up. So, I mean, and also you can't worry about what other people think, like that's another big one I think is like people worry so much. I remember one time my sister-in-law, like I always would try to get her to run and she'd be like, this body does not run. Well, then one day her body started to run, so it was pretty cool, but I remember her and I were at a function together and this woman came up to her that we know, like we're not friends with her, but like we know her. And like she was just kind of like telling my sister-in-law, like, oh, I saw you out there running and you look like you were dogging it, like having such a rough time, blah, 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 whatever. And I was like, terrible. Like, I know this other woman does not ever run. Like, why would she even like try to like get in her head like that? You know what I mean? Like, so after that, I was like, listen, you can't worry about what she thinks. Like, you really cannot worry about it. And I think that's huge. Like, don't worry about what other people think because you're doing this for you. The people that are like saying stuff like that to you are definitely doing less. I think that is for sure too. And it's just, you're doing it for you. That's
it. Just makes them feel better about the fact that they're unable to do it or mentally
yeah.
not in a place to want to try it out. So
yeah, exactly. Yep, for sure. But I
think that's really good advice.
Yeah. I had something else, but I forget what it was. But yeah, I don't know. It's just I just think everybody should give running a chance.
I agree. Yeah. And I mean, I think what you said about just being consistent with it, choosing like a certain amount of days that you want to do it and just like owning that and going through the highs and the lows with it and learning from all those experiences. And then just over time, you'll see what you want out of it. I'm also curious though for you, I mean, because I know you brought up pace for a little bit. obviously sounds like a lot of your runs that you do, you're running really easy. You're not worrying too much about the pace. I'm the same way. What is, let's say you're running 100 miles in a week outside of, I guess like out of those 100 miles, how many miles a week are you putting in where you're actually doing like a speed workout or threshold tempo type pace workouts? Are those pretty frequent for you or not a whole lot?
I do speed work 2 days a week. It's usually Tuesdays and Thursdays. So this morning I did a speed workout at the track, and then Thursday I'm not sure what is on my schedule. So I follow a plan by Run Coach, which is an app-based training program that I actually found when I ran the Marine Corps Marathon. So I very, 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 very loosely follow that plan, because it definitely does not have me running as much as I do run, but I just like to see what the speed work is, and then I'll kind of just follow that. But I mean, those, I do speed work Tuesdays, Thursdays over the summer, and then in the wintertime when my schedule changes, that changes, but I find too, if I am doing an easy run on another day, and if I feel really good and I kind of want to spice it up a little bit, I'll allow myself to, maybe give it a mile or so, a little bit quicker. But my easy days, I usually run maybe like 9-minute pace-ish, So the easy days are definitely easy. And my schedule always has Monday as a rest day. So usually Mondays, I'm like, I don't care. My pace could be like, I could walk. You know what I mean? Like, this is a rest day. That's fine. Like, whatever the pace is whatever. That's kind of the way I look at it.
Nice. That's smart. Yeah. And I'm sure like those rest days, obviously they set you up for those higher intensity days that you're doing on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and allow you to obviously not get hurt or anything like that. Have you had like any injuries over the last 5 or 6 years at this point that you've been running every day?
Knock on wood. I have not. I have not really had any like serious injuries, like nothing that like my massage therapist can't take care of, kind of, like I've definitely had sore muscles and stuff like that, but luckily nothing too serious. After Boston this year though, I did really hurt my shin. Like, I don't know if it was the shoes I was wearing or what, but I got so beat up at this past Boston. It's the worst I ever felt after a marathon, and I don't know why. Like, it was terrible. But my shin, I was positive that I had a stress fracture, because it was like a pain I've never had before, and it was like relentless. Like, I saw online, as I Google everything, but I saw you can test for a stress fracture with a tuning fork. So here I am on Amazon. I ordered a tuning fork, and I actually posted about it on TikTok. And there were a lot of people that were like, I'm a physical therapist, or I work in a physical therapist's office, and this is actually an accurate way to determine if you have a stress fracture or not. So my sister-in-law actually works in a physical therapist's office too, and she was like helping me out with it. And through the tuning fork, we determined that I did not have a stress fracture. I don't know what it was, but I did actually end up going to the doctor a few weeks into it, because it was intense, and I'm kind of glad that I waited. When I went to the doctor, it was already starting to feel a little bit better. So I'm kind of glad that I waited, because I think if I went right away, they would have been like, nope, you need to take 6 weeks off. Like, stop running. Like, you need to rest. Like, I really think that's how it would have went. But I kind of gauge the way I feel, like, not just with the shin, but with anything that I think could potentially be an injury, is like, I'll kind of look at it and I'll be like, all right, I'll give it 2 or 3 days. Is it starting to feel better, feel worse, or does it feel the same? Does it bother me when I'm not running? Does it only bother me when I'm running? Does it bother me like, when I'm sleeping? Like, does it keep me up at night? There's a whole bunch of things that I kind of look at when I'm determining if I'm actually injured or if it's just like a little glitch, So I think that kind of keeps me out of the doctor's office too. I'm like, if I went to the doctor every time I had something that felt a little off, like if you're running 100 miles a week, you're bound to be sore, and like you know? So
That's good that you have a good system with it, though.
yeah. And I kind of know, like, I have quad pain that I've gotten. I think honestly, with my quad, I think I hurt it at the very first Warrior Dash I did. And I think it's just kind of stuck with me. And every now and then, whatever it is, it just kind of like flares up and it bothers me. Like when I'm running fast. And I went to the doctor about it once. And this is the other thing too. Like if you're going to go to a doctor, I think it would be wise to find a doctor that knows running, like maybe is a runner, maybe like, I don't know. So I went to, it was actually at the place where my sister-in-law worked. It was a center for bone and joint care or something like that. So this is what they do, right? And the doctor was like, well, if it only bothers you when you're running fast, just don't run fast. And I'm like, that's a great thing, doctor. Like, that's not going to happen, but okay. So, so it's kind of like after that, I was kind of like, well, I don't know. Like for me to go to the doctor, it's going to have to be something like serious. I'll have to have a bone popping out of my leg or something for me to be like, yes, I should get some medical attention, but I don't know. I just kind of keep an eye on things. I know, I feel like I kind of know my body and what is a normal ache and pain versus something but when my shin, I seriously was afraid with that one. I was like, this is something a little bit more than, but that was such a great race though, that Boston. Oh my God, I got so beat up, but it was probably like one of the best Bostons I ever ran. So I was running, like I knew Shalane Flanagan was going to be running it with Adrienne Hazlitt, the girl that lost her leg at the Boston Marathon bombing. Mm-hmm. I knew they were going to be running it together. Like Shalane was her guide, but I didn't really like think too much of it. I saw it on Instagram. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. So while I'm running Boston, I saw the dog. Like that was one of my big things. Oh, what is that dog's name? But you know the dog that I'm talking about that's like notoriously at the Boston Marathon?
I feel like I would recognize it, but I don't know.
It's a golden retriever. I'll probably remember his name as soon as we're done talking. But anyway, that was one of my goals. I'm like, I've run this thing so many times and I've never seen this dog. So that was my first goal. I'm going to see the dog. And I did. So then I was like running along and I came up behind Shalane Flanagan and Adrienne Hazlitt. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is them. Like I couldn't believe it. Right. So I literally was like shoulder to shoulder with Shalane Flanagan. And I was like, this is insane. And I was like, I don't usually like I'm not like starstruck or whatever. And I usually like, because I've seen people that I follow on Instagram and stuff before. And I'm kind of like, I'll just leave them alone. Like, I'm not going to bother them. But I was nice to Shalane Flanagan. I'm like, I've got to say hello to her. Like, I have to, like, this is never going to happen again. So I looked over and I was like, hey, how you guys doing? And they're like, we're doing good. Have a good race. And I'm like, I just kept running. And I'm like, I can't believe I just said hello to
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was so cool. It was so cool. But
really cool to like meet someone famous during a race. So you don't really
right? Like I just thought it was pretty cool. Well, and then today I saw that Ashton Kutcher is running the New York City Marathon. Be on the lookout for him. I'm sure
we're running together. Yeah. That would be really cool. Yeah, there's a nice handful of well-known people doing a lot of really amazing runners too, like the Olympic level and stuff, which is awesome to do that. So we'll be able to keep up with them, but I'll look at them as well.
Right. Well, and it's so funny because when my family, when they come to these races, I'm like, you guys are so lucky that you get to see all these like elite athletes running, which I've never seen that.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? Like I've never. Like I'm like, you guys are so lucky. It's so cool to be able to see that, but maybe they're not as impressed as I am. I think
I'm sure one day you'll be on the sideline for a race and you'll get to see some of that.
I hope so, because it's got to be pretty incredible. Like they run so fast. I don't know how they do it.
It's wild. Awesome. Well, Joslyn, anything else? First of all, this has been amazing. Really love your story. Love how much running has really helped your life and how much of a difference you're trying to make and all the cool experiences you've done so far, and looking forward to following your journey as you continue this. Anything else you wanted to bring up, to the community here, or just like any general final thoughts?
Pretty much, I think, just give it a chance. Give running a chance because you really have no idea like where it could take you. It really, it's for sure. Give it a chance. It's amazing. It literally it has changed my life, and it could change anybody's life if they just let it, it's just incredible.
Love
So
that.
I'm so glad that I found running. I wish I found it a little bit sooner in life, but
Better late than never.
that's it. Better late than never.
Amazing. And then where do people find you if they want to take a look at some of your content?
I am on TikTok. I'm the Running Joslyn R, and actually I'm the same on Instagram too, the Running Joslyn R, and I believe that is my YouTube channel as well, the Running Joslyn R. But YouTube is kind of, I got to get back into posting on YouTube. Like I did just post a video recently, but I'm like, I got to get back into it. So that's my plan for this winter, is to kind of post a little bit more on YouTube. So, but
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, some fun things to look forward to, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So we'll check out your different pages. And yeah, like I said, Joslyn, this has been awesome. We'll keep in touch. I'll keep watching your stuff. And if you need anything in the future, always happy to help in any way I can. What goes around comes around, right?
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun. I literally could talk about this all day. So.
Yeah, love it. Love it.